So I thought of it as, you know, couples vibing, dating, getting more serious, covalent bond, ionic bond now, you know, you really attach. You know, it's a very interesting one. The way what hooked me to chemistry is, you know, from the first day that I learned about this cosmic dance of electrons around a nucleus in an atom, you know, and I looked at the imagery and the drawings and the explanations, and I could imagine this whole thing going on.
Yeah,
I was mesmerized by it, actually. And it's sort of more profound if you consider that everything you see around you is made up of these atoms.
Wow.
It just grasped me, it grabbed my imagination, and I wanted to learn more. I was really hungry to learn as much as possible about it. So, and contrary to what many people might think, the study of science actually drew me closer to God.
Yeah.
Because the more you learn about chemical reaction and chemical interactions, you know, you've got to ask yourself, who's controlling all of this? Who writes these rules that keeps all of nature in order? There has to be a bigger player. There has to be a higher power.
Sure.
And you know, and then building on that at varsity, I majored in chemistry and biochemistry. I did pure science, but I also did biology and microbiology along the way. And I remember also seeing the first time I saw a living cell under a microscope.
Yeah.
And I learned about all the structures that are in the cell and the jobs that they have, you know, the energy houses, etc. And how everything just interacts and works. And something you can't even see, it's invisible to the eye.
Yeah.
And I thought, so much order in something so small.
Sure.
Who created that?
Yeah.
Who did that? Where did it come from? So I feel that in my experience has been, the more I learn about science, the closer it draws me to God, because the more I realize that there had to be a higher power involved with all of this. But the study of chemistry itself is not the easiest of things. If you speak to anybody who's studied that engineering or science at varsity, they will tell you it's probably one of the subjects that they probably didn't enjoy as much. And the reason for that is it can be quite intangible.
Okay.
You know, you're studying chemical reactions, you're studying you know, compounds, and it is all these abstract drawings. It's really all invisible. It's like magic.
Sure.
You know, it's a bit like being a wizard in a lab, and things are happening, but you can't really see what is going on. But I made it real for myself, and you're going to find this very funny, because, you know, chemical reaction is two things coming together. So it's atoms joining, etc., to form either covalent bonds or stronger bonds, ionic bonds, or many of them getting together, forming molecules. So I thought of it as, you know, couples vibing, dating, getting more serious, covalent bond, ionic bond now, you know, you really attach, starting their families. Now you've got molecules, you know, longer chain reactions. And in my mind, that's what chemistry was about.
Sure.
So I had this huge smile on my face. I remember in my final year, writing my final exam, I had this huge smile on my face as I imagined all of this chemistry playing out in my mind. But it worked for me. It helped me to remember what I needed to remember. And I really excelled at chemistry at varsity for this reason. But, you know, I wouldn't say the fun stopped, because I suppose it only really just began. I was scouted by Anglo-American in my final year of study.
Okay.
And so I love to tell people that I'm a scientist by qualification, but I'm a metallurgist by profession.
Yes.
Because I spent my whole career in metallurgy.
Yes. Even
though I've been schooled in science. And that in itself gave me a very fresh perspective on metallurgy. You know, there is something very unique about studying the fundamentals of science and then being exposed to an application. You haven't learned that application. So everything is a new discovery for you, and you question everything. So you can often bring new light onto some old problems that others see past because they've been taught differently.
Sure.
You know, for me as sort of a trained chemist in the metallurgical world, I had to figure everything out or apply my theoretical knowledge of chemistry to the application of metallurgy. And often in that process, I would actually come up with some profound discoveries or different angles, which always in work led me to, the project field, the research field, where, you had to design test work programs and hypothesize and think logically and sort of get to a conclusion. And I always hoped at the end of it that, that the industry could also benefit from all this wonderful work, because I had so much fun doing it. But of course, you're doing a job and you're there to achieve certain goals. So you hope at the end of the day that the sort of the goals align, your personal goals and that of the company. And it always works best that way. But eventually I sought more freedom. I wanted to be freer thinking. I wanted to choose what I studied, etc. So I moved away from corporate life and invented my own technology, started my own company.
Wow.
And it served me quite well to this day. And I have to say, though, it hasn't been a rosy life. It took a lot of hard work.
Sure.
But I wouldn't change that for anything.
I'm sure. Wow. Amazing.